Hey everybody, how's it going? I am your host Adrian, coming to you almost live from lovely Petaluma, California, here in Studio MC2 at Quicksurf Internet Studios. The Geekinator is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Do feel free to head on over to techpodcast.com and check out all the other technology-related shows over there as well. I'd like to encourage everybody to visit us online over at quicksurf.com, and if you have not already done so, please do subscribe to the show. And that'll help support the show. And if you have already subscribed to the show, thank you for subscribing. If you're on YouTube, there's a subscribe link up above me. And if you visit us on the web in the show notes, for every episode, we have underneath the subscribe heading, we have a link to subscribe to an Ogg Vorbis feed, an MP3 feed, and a standard def and an high def H.264 feed respectively. So if you have lots of choice to subscribe to your format of choice using your podcatcher of choice, and that will do wonders to help me support the show. Let's go ahead and get into the cool stuff that I found for this episode. Starting off over at Engadget, there's an article here. Google Glass now, like UI, has finally been revealed. I'm a little underwhelmed, but I can see, it's at least a good start. Definitely, if you're interested in Google Glass and what the UI to it is going to look like while you're wearing the glasses, definitely check this out. For those of you who will be getting Google Glass, this is definitely a good thing to look at for sure. Also from Engadget, there's been a record-breaking 320 gigapixel panorama of London. They have this shown here. It's a sphere. It's called the Shard. It might be the new darling of London skyline, but the BT Power's still got a few tricks up its sleeve, such as this world-breaking 320 gigapixel panorama of the English capital. It's a total of 48,640 images shot with 4 Canon EOS 7D cameras, and it was stitched together into a 360-degree view vista. Pretty stunning. Definitely check it out. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine the sheer volume of data, the raw pictures that this, I mean, that's got to be, if it's 320 gigapixels, it's got to be close to a terabyte at least of image data. I mean, it's epic. Definitely check it out. From Gizmo, a 3-doodler pen lets you draw objects in the air and destroys its Kickstarter goal. This is pretty neat. A friend of mine actually sent this over to me. It's a special pen. You can actually draw a 3D figure in the air. As the company says, you can lift your imagination off the page. You can wave your finger in the air to trace something. You can use the 3-doodler. At the press of a button, it melts and extrudes the same kind of plastic filament used in 3D printers, which hardens immediately, leaving a solid line of plastic, which you can then connect to others you've already placed. Draw up, down, in circles. It doesn't matter. The plastic is surprisingly solid once laid and can support intricate designs. I thought this was awesome. My friend who sent it over also thought it was awesome. Definitely check it out. From Gizmo, a stick-on film transforms glass into a smart window. This is pretty cool. Directly out of what looks to be the new version, the remake of Total Recall, where the glass pane turns into, I don't know if any of you have seen it or not, but there's a mode where they can, they have a telephone right in their hand and they can talk this way, or they can put it on the glass and it turns into a sheet of glass and it turns into this whole smart glass thing. This is really similar to that. Definitely check it out for sure. From Make Magazine over at makezine.com and their blog, they have a post here, a sneak peek at the new BeagleBone. For those of you who do embedded development, you've got Arduino, you've got the Beagle board, the Raspberry Pi, and the BeagleBone. Well, a new BeagleBone is about to be released. The folks over at BeagleBoard are teasing us with a sneak peek of the newest version of the BeagleBone. It's their embedded Linux development board. According to the post on their site, the new board comes at a lower price. It touts more processing power and has an onboard HDMI port so that you can connect directly to TVs and monitors without extra hardware. The new board will also feature more RAM and onboard flash storage in addition to the micro SD slot. So pretty neat. Definitely check it out if you are into embedded development. From Coolest Gadgets, HTC announces the HTC One. This is kind of their flagship phone for Android. It's beautiful. It is a beautiful phone. It definitely gives Apple and their iPhone a run for the money in the industrial design department. Beautiful phone. It's pretty nice. Zero gap aluminum unibody. Comes with HTC Blink Feed, HTC Zo, and HTC Boom Sound. Pretty neat. The hardware, I don't have a lot of details on the hardware, but comes with an ultra pixel, what they're calling an ultra pixel camera, which basically it's a 4 megapixel camera with the sensor size the same size as the larger megapixel count. So the 4 megapixels that you do get are considerably higher quality pixels as opposed to something like an 8 megapixel camera that you see like on the iPhone 5 and the 4S. So definitely something to look into if you're in the market for a new phone and you want to be Android compatible. From Gizmodo, this is neither Mars nor Mercury. This is Earth. There's a nice photo here. Commander Chris Hadfield just took this photo of Earth with the opening caption, "Mars is a very interesting planet with its rugged ancient surface, but this is Earth." This looks like another planet. I kid you not. It looks like another planet. Pretty impressive. Beautiful photo. Taken from space, obviously. Definitely check this out. I don't know where this is, but this is pretty awesome. From Read Write Social, what's missing from the new digital classroom? I found this article to be very interesting and I wanted to share it with everybody here. As a parent myself who has school age brethren or school age offspring, there's quite a bit going on in the classrooms where they're doing more computerized teaching and that sort of thing. And this is an editorial / write-up of kind of what effect that's going to have. I thought it was a very interesting read. There's a couple of things here where, a couple of points it makes, like education does not equal screen time. I completely agree. Technology is only part of the education equation. Absolutely. My personal experience has been that their teachers and schools, less teachers, but schools in particular, are trying to push technology in place of actually getting education from a teacher. And I'm not, simply because it's less expensive to do that, but I'm not entirely sure that that's really the best course of action. Like in my particular case, I'm a computer guy. I've been working on computers and spent an absolutely obscene amount of time on the computer on a daily basis. And as a parent, I don't think that is the best thing for children. Kids are kids. They need playtime. They need, people time. They, the less time they spend watching TV and on the computer and on the phone and on the iPad and, the less time they spend away from technology, generally my observation has been, the better off they are. If you can delay that a little bit until they get a little bit older, from my own experience, it makes it a lot easier to deal with life in general. There's something about technology that inhibits, I guess I want to say, development to a degree. And it's not really tangible. It's something that you don't really, it's really hard for me to put into words, but being a parent and having actually experienced this, if I had to do it over again, I would probably limit a lot more. So anyway, I don't want to get into too many details because that's, personal life, but I think this is a very interesting write-up, and definitely check it out, especially if you are a parent and have school-age children. From Uber Gizmo, Lego X-Wing Sports A Whopping 1,500 pieces. I thought this was cool. I'm a huge Star Wars, Star Trek fan. This Lego X-Wing is epic. It's awesome. Definitely check it out. From Ars Technica in their Technology Lab / Information Technology section, I found this nice little article. It's entitled, How Do I Deal with a Team Member Who Refuses to Make Comments in Code? For those of us who are programmers, we know the bane and the usefulness of comments. There obviously are those who advocate no comments. They say that your code should be self-documenting. Well, that's not always the case. And then there are also those that over-comment their code. I tend to fall kind of in the middle. If you're making an API, like for example, I'm up until recently, I was primarily a Java developer. And if I am coding up an interface, it's extremely useful because there is no implementation on an interface. It is literally a specification for an interface to a piece of functionality, right? And so you have a collection of methods in this interface. And in that instance, you want to comment exceedingly well. You want to comment, what each method does, fully comment it, because an interface in Java land is typically used as an API to a piece of functionality or to a library, right? Or a collection of interfaces acts as a piece of functionality to a library. That does not mean that I need to comment the actual implementation, except for specific instances inside that implementation of the interface where I'm doing something a little non-standard, or I'm doing something where it's a little complicated and I want to provide a little background as to why it's done the way it's done. If I'm doing something a little unusual or something of that nature, fine. But comments just for the sake of comments, I think, is a waste of time. But it is helpful to have comments in such places like interfaces. If you're doing an API, you definitely should comment it. Anyway, this is a nice write-up on how to deal with team members who consistently don't comment any code at all. It happens. From Yahoo Games, Sony unveils the PlayStation 4. It's coming in the holiday of 2013. That's this year. The PlayStation 4 is on its way. They had a press event in New York this morning. This is recorded Wednesday, February 20th. So they had a press event in New York this morning. They showed off the next generation console. Obviously it's going to be a step up from the PlayStation 3. They have no choice but to make it a step up from the PlayStation 3. They had a bunch of stuff they showed off. Definitely check out the article. I'm sure those of you who follow this sort of thing, it's been all over the news, all over the place. So all you got to do is go to news.google.com, and it'll, Google PlayStation 4, and it'll, everything you ever want to know about it will be there. I'm not going to cover it in detail here because I'm already running late, but still, nonetheless. Over at the Epoch Times in their English edition, there's an article here. Everybody wants a slice of the Raspberry Pi. This is a nice little write-up, kind of a little bit on the origins of the Raspberry Pi and what's behind it and that sort of thing. I thought it was a pretty neat write-up and thought I'd share it with you guys. A friend of mine actually sent this over. And also, for those of you who want to, you can send me links, geekinator@quicksurf.com. I do accept links from the audience, and if it's something that's really neat and awesome, it very well may end up right here on the show. So anyway, that's all I've got for this edition of the Geekinator. As always, everything we've talked about is linked up in the show notes, which you can find online over at quicksurf.com. Please do subscribe to the show. And with that, I will see all of you on the next episode. See you then. Bye.